Sending love, health, happiness, and prosperity to you watching this video. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Aisha, a family nurse practitioner, and in this video, I'm going to tell you all about my experience in my ABSN program and everything you need to know for these types of programs. So an ABSN program, it stands for an Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. These types of programs are for people who already have a bachelor's degree in something else and then they want to get their bachelor's degree in nursing. It could be in whatever. My first undergrad degree was in healthcare studies. So I graduated in May of 2015 and I applied to the program before I had graduated from my other school. I got accepted in June. When I got accepted, it was contingent upon me essentially moving because I went to Texas Tech. So Texas Tech has the main campus is in Lubbock, but they also have satellite campuses. So I applied to the program with hopes of attending the program in the city that I live in, right? But they were like, well, you got accepted, but you have to choose between these three campuses. And so they had given me three choices. One was closer than the other two. So I spoke to my husband because I had also just got married in May of 2015. So I told my husband, like, hey, honey, I got into nursing school, but I have to choose which campus I'm going to attend because the campus in my city was full. So he was like, well, just go for it. You can do anything for a year. So having his support was essential and it just meant so much. But it was like, man, yes, I can do this. I can do anything for a year. So my program started in January of 2016. We ended in December of 2016. So it was 3 semesters, 61 credit hours. I'll talk about the clinical hours a little bit later, but it was spring, summer, fall, and so about 20 credit hours each semester. For those of you who may not know, that is a lot of credit hours for one semester because a typical full-time college semester is going to be about 12 credit hours. So 20 credit hours is a lot, and one class generally equals 3 credit hours. I got accepted and I essentially moved to one of these satellite campuses. I was wanting to get an apartment because I knew that I would be stationed there for the year. So I didn't want to get a regular apartment because I didn't want to have to pay to furnish it. So I was able to get student housing. There was another university in that city. So I got student housing and it worked out great. It was down the street from my campus and it was already furnished. I just had to bring my personal items and, things to cook and stuff. So that worked out great. And then I had a roommate and she was also in the nursing program with me. So it just worked out great. A little bit more about the program. So 3 semesters, 20 credit hours each semester. The breaks were very minimal, to be honest. We got one break. I think one of the in-between semesters we got a 2-week break, but generally it was a 1-week break. So barely enough time to catch my breath. What I loved about the program is that we jumped right into the nursing coursework. We also jumped right into clinical. It had to be within 3 weeks of starting in January. So like early February, I was already in clinical. That was what I really liked. I had already, taken out the prerequisites and stuff. So it was nice because it's like, man, this is what I'm going to school for. I'm actually learning everything, like how to be a nurse. So as far as clinical, it was 1,100 clinical hours for the entire year. And so I was on the med-surg floor and I had one preceptor for the entire year, which was nice because my preceptor she knew me, as the year progressed, and so she knew my strengths and weaknesses and was able to give me constructive criticism on how to get better. So I started out, watching her, then taking one patient. Essentially, I moved my way up to taking the full patient load. I was taking 5 patients at the end of the year. I was assessing patients. I was getting report. I was giving report. I was giving all the medications. I was sending them to surgery, getting admissions, doing discharges. I was literally the nurse by the time my program ended. So that type of immersive experience really helped me grow as a student nurse, and it also helped me to grow and have confidence, as a new grad nurse. I really like that aspect about my program. Now, granted, I did have different preceptors whenever I did pediatric clinical, OB, and then for psych, we actually went to a mental hospital. We traveled there, so that was a quite cool experience. And then for acute care, I was in the ICU. So, and it was at the hospital. So I did ICU and then ER. So that clinical for me was the best part of the program because it's actually where you learn to be a nurse. It's different than reading all that stuff in the books. Although I think the book work is necessary so that you can have an idea or know what you're doing in clinical. But for me, clinical was the best part. In the program, they were, talking to us about jobs and graduating and stuff. So I had already applied to a couple jobs before I graduated, went on some interviews, and I actually landed a job before I graduated. The job was contingent upon me, of course, graduating and then passing my NCLEX. So that's what I did. So it was nice, and I would encourage you that if you are in this type of program to apply for jobs before you are done. That way, whenever you are done, you're not scrambling around trying to get a job. You already have a job lined up. All you have to do is pass your boards. So, and then what also I liked about my school is that they were prepping us. So we did have a job fair. It wasn't a job fair. It was like some HR representatives. They came. It was virtual because again, this was a satellite campus. So I was able to listen to some of the HR people talk about, they want us to come and work for their hospital and things like that. So that was nice. And then we had someone to come and prep us for interviews as far as interview attire and resumes and things like that. So that was nice because they were getting us prepped for the real world and for a job once we graduated. So program, again, it was a year and it was hard. It was so hard. It was so painful, but I'm glad I did it because when you think about it, a year flies by. It flies by so fast. You blink, you're already in another year, or you blink and a year has passed by and you're like, man, where did time go? So I'm glad that I did this type of program because, again, I jumped right into clinical. It was very immersive. Although it was hard, it was very intense. I'm glad that I did it and it was over pretty fast. So now I'm going to give you all some tips and everything you need to know is for this type of program. Can you work? Well, this is subjective, right? So I did not work. Once I got into the program, I had 2 jobs. I was a scribe and I was a waitress prior to nursing school. And I was also getting my other undergrad degree. So once I got into nursing school, I quit the scribe job and I just hustled waiting tables. So from like June or July to December, and I saved up $8,000 and I just used that money because I knew that I wasn't going to work in nursing school. So I used that money to sustain me, and then I did have help once I did run out of money. So that is something to think about. Some people, I did have a classmate, he worked the entire time of the program. So I can't say no, don't work, or yes, work. It depends on your situation. It depends on what type of person you are. I personally did not do it, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, and you'll make it work. Difficulty of the program, I already kind of talked about how difficult it was. It was very hard, but it's not impossible. It definitely can be done. You definitely can do this. You just got to get your mind right. Really, that's half the battle. The pace. So the pace of my program, it was very, very fast paced. We would have 2 tests in a week sometimes. There was always something to do. If I wasn't studying for a test, I was writing a paper. If I wasn't writing a paper, I was doing a discussion board. I was in clinical like twice a week, maybe even 3 days a week. Whenever my preceptor was there, I was there to meet my clinical hour requirement. And there was really no off days, because if I wasn't attending class, like the lecture, I was in clinical. So if I wasn't doing either of those, I was studying. So that is where my time was spent. It was spent studying, because it was very time consuming and a lot of information. I would expect to teach yourself. So, if you can, try to go over the material before you go to lecture. That way, by the time you go to lecture, you already kind of have an idea of what the professor is going to go over. If you have any questions or need clarification on anything, you can then ask. That's what I would suggest. But I did do a lot of teaching myself in this type of program, because again, it is very fast paced. So I did watch YouTube videos, and you want to find some reputable YouTubers. So I looked at a lot of Simple Nursing with Michael Linares. I looked at some registered nurse RN videos. I did use some Picmonic, and then also Khan Academy is a reputable source. So I would say, read your books, listen to your professor, and then be ready to supplement what you learn in class. Find out how you best learn. It would be nice if you were to do this before the program, because again, you're gonna hit the ground running, depending on, of course, how long your program is. So yeah, and then I did study by myself a lot of the times, but then sometimes I did study with others. So again, I would study with my roommate, because she was also in the program, and then I would study with 2 other of my classmates. Very small study group. It was just 3 of us studying, and we got a lot done. If your study group is too big, and if y'all are friends, you may not get much done. It may not be productive. So you want to make sure that the people who you are studying with in your study group, you all are being productive. And I found that really helps me, because let's say I didn't understand this concept, or I was weak in that and didn't quite understand it. Having the study group, you can bounce your ideas off of each other, and they may understand it more, or you may understand something more than them. And so you really know that you know the material when you're able to teach it to someone and they understand it. So definitely, teamwork makes the dream work. Find you some good study partners and study together. That was essential to my success in the program. Hardest classes. The whole program is hard. The hardest classes, I would say pharmacology and acute care. I think they're all kind of hard, because like peds, it's hard because the pediatric vital signs are so different from an adult vital signs. And then, all those shots and stuff you have to remember. So that was kind of challenging. OB, it was really cool to me. The only thing that I remember OB being hard was the, what is it? Pitocin, like the calculation of the Pitocin. Oh my gosh, that was hard. But let's see, acute care, I feel like it was hard because it's like ICU stuff and it was all those parameters, and it was to me, acute care was hard. And pharmacology, because it's just all these meds and all these classes, and you got the generic name, you got the brand name, you got your psych meds, and pharm was a lot. So I would say those are the hardest two classes. I definitely did make flashcards, and then I would also use a whiteboard, write down everything, erase. Rewriting helped me a lot, helps me retain the information. Also reciting the information. So once you read it, read it out loud, recite it, let yourself hear yourself saying it out loud. That way you can remember it whenever it's test time. So I would say those are the hardest classes. In these types of programs, you must be organized. There's no exception. You have to be. You can't miss any assignments. There's going to be things due on a daily basis. So you should get a big calendar that you can write in. Don't put everything in your phone, because it's going to be so much stuff. Your phone can't even keep up with it. You are going to need to write it down. Once you start your class, get your syllabus and go through your syllabus. Highlight every assignment and every assignment due date. Then transfer it over to your planner. And then I would, write stuff in different colors. That way, I have a test due for pharm on this day, and then I have a discussion board due for, foundations on this day. So you have to be organized. You must write everything down, because they are not going to say, oh, you forgot. Okay, well, I'll give you an extended deadline. No, you're going to get a 0, and that's not going to be good for your grade, because in my program, we had to get a 75 or higher to pass. If we got 74, that was a failing grade. So, and I think that's how it is with a lot of nursing schools. So you got to be on top of your stuff. You have to be organized, and your time management is key. I would write down the hours that I'm going to study, what I'm going to study. While you're studying, you got to take your breaks, but time management is going to be key, in addition to being organized in these types of programs. Lastly, a couple of last things. I want to say it's important to take care of yourself while you're in this type of nursing program. Again, these are very challenging. They are time consuming. So it's important to take care of yourself. Eat healthy, get your greens in, get your fruits in and your vegetables, drink your water. Take care of yourself, because when you take care of yourself, you're able to study better, you're able to retain the information better, you're able to perform better. What helped me is I wasn't able to work out as much as I had been working out prior to the program, but I did keep up working out. So I would go running outside. While I was running, I would do squats and I would do lunges, jumping jacks. So just staying active is key, and it's going to help alleviate some of the stress that you may have for the program, and it's just going to be overall healthy for you. Exercise is a free drug. It has so many benefits, so you're going to have to take care of yourself this short time period, because it's going to be just essential to your overall well-being, and it will definitely be worth it. The other last thing that I'm going to say is it's a mindset thing. You have to get your mind right. Once you believe it in your mind that you can do this program, that you can pass, that you can and will be successful, that's half the battle. After that, you just have to discipline yourself to put in the work. Put in the work, and the results are going to follow. Get your mind right. Surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you, who are going to push you when you feel like, man, I can't take this anymore. This is too much. Surround yourself with some encouraging people who are going to motivate you and push you to continue to go. You know, you have to remember why you started the program. You wanted to be a nurse, or, you know, go further, even further than a nurse. But you have to get it in your mind that yes, this is going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be painful, but it is going to change your life. I say that the year that I was in nursing school, it was the hardest academic year of my life, but it has been so good to me since I graduated and became an RN. So get your mind right. You can do this. You have to believe in yourself. Once you believe in yourself, like, man, you're unstoppable. So that's all I have for this video today. I hope this video helped you all. Let's have a dialogue in the comments below. Did you attend an ABSN program? Are you thinking about it? What was your experience? How did you like it? So yeah, until next time, you all be blessed. Talk to you later.